The scent of roasted coffee beans filled the small cafe as Amelia adjusted her apron and wiped the counter for what felt like the 100th time that morning. She loved working at Brewhaven, the cozy little coffee shop tucked away in a quiet corner of the city. It wasn't just a job, it was her safe space. The wooden furniture, the warm lighting, the sound of frothing milk and clinking mugs, it all felt like home. She had dreams. Of course, bigger dreams than making cappuccinos and Lottie's butt. After her father passed away and left her with mounting bills, this was all she could manage for now. One chilly morning, while arranging pastries in the display case, Amelia noticed a man sitting in the corner booth. He was dressed sharply in a tailored suit, a laptop open in front of him, his brows furrowed, as though the entire world rested on his shoulders. Something about him stood out, not just his appearance, but the air of authority he carried. Customers came and went, yet his focus never wavered from his screen. When Amelia finally approached his table with a warm smile and asked if he needed a refill, he looked up. His eyes were piercing, a shade of deep brown that seemed to hold secrets. "Yes, please. Black coffee?" he said, his voice calm but firm. Over the next week, Amelia noticed him returning always. The same corner booth, always. The same order. Curiosity got the better of her, and one afternoon, when the cafe was nearly empty, she struck up a conversation. His name was Ethan Blackwood, she learned. He was a wealthy businessman, owner of several companies across the city, and Brewhaven had become his thinking spot. Amelia teased that his thinking must be very expensive, given how many cups of coffee he consumed. To her surprise, he chuckled a sound that seemed to soften his otherwise stern demeanor. Despite their differences, her simple life and his complicated world, they began to connect. Ethan would ask about her day, and Amelia found herself confiding in him about her struggles. She shared how she wanted to study literature, how she once dreamed of being a writer, but life had forced her to put those dreams aside. Ethan listened, really listened, in a way most people didn't. For a moment, he wasn't the powerful businessman. He was just a man who seemed to find peace in the quiet company of a small-town girl behind a coffee counter. But behind his warmth, Amelia sensed something else, an edge of tension, a shadow that never quite left his face. She wanted to ask about it, but she didn't. Instead, she let their friendship grow, day by day, cup by cup. One evening, long after closing, Amelia found a stack of documents accidentally left behind on Ethan's table. She knew she shouldn't look, but curiosity pushed her. Her breath caught when she saw the title, Marriage Contract Agreement. Her name wasn't there, of course, but she skimmed the clauses and realized this wasn't just a personal matter, it was tied to his business. The fine print revealed a shocking detail. If Ethan didn't marry within 3 months, he would lose control of his company to his cold, manipulative uncle. The next morning, Ethan returned, as usual. Amelia's heart pounded as she slid his coffee across the counter. She wanted to confront him about what she had seen but chose silence. But Ethan noticed her unease. After a long pause, he sighed and admitted the truth. "I'm trapped, Amelia. The only way to secure my company is to marry before the deadline. But in my world, marriage isn't about love, it's about contracts, deals, and signatures." Amelia's chest tightened. She had grown to admire Ethan, maybe even more than she wanted to admit. The idea of him marrying someone out of obligation made her heart ache in ways she couldn't understand. Ethan, however, seemed strangely calm, as if he had accepted this fate. Days passed, and tension brewed between them. Amelia tried to keep a distance, telling herself it was foolish to dream of someone like him. But Ethan's visits didn't stop, and every time he looked at her, it was as though he wanted to say something but couldn't. One rainy evening, as thunder rumbled in the distance, Ethan stayed behind after closing. The shop was quiet except for the rain pelting against the windows. "I shouldn't drag you into my mess," he said softly, staring into his untouched cup. "But, Amelia, you've been the only real thing in my life lately. Everything else, my business, my reputation, my wealth, it all feels like chains. But you," he paused, his voice breaking slightly, "you make me feel free." Amelia's heart raced. She wanted to tell him she felt the same, but before she could, the cafe door burst open. A tall, stern-looking man stepped in, umbrella in hand. Amelia immediately recognized the resemblances had to be Ethan's uncle. His presence filled the room like a storm. "So this is where you waste your time," the uncle sneered. His eyes landed on Amelia, sharp and calculating. "A barista. This is the reason you're hesitating to honor your contract." Pathetic. Amelia stiffened, but Ethan rose, standing between her and his uncle. "Don't you dare speak about her that way," he said, his voice like steel. The uncle smirked, but there was something dangerous in his gaze. He leaned closer to Ethan and whispered loud enough for Amelia to hear. "If you Dante sign that contract, everything your father built will be gone, and this girl will mean nothing to you." The tension in the cafe was unbearable. Amelia's hands trembled, but she held her ground. After the uncle finally left, Ethan sat back down, defeated. "You see now?" he said quietly. "This is the world I live in, loving you, wanting you. It could cost me everything." Tears stunned Amelia's eyes, but she steadied her voice. "Then maybe it's not about what you stand to lose, Ethan. Maybe it's about what you'll regret if you let it slip away."